2 words. Lightsabers. Anyone who wields a lightsaber is automatically just better, okay? Enter Kidpool. Hailing from Earth 10330, Wade Wilson was a new student of the Xavier Orphanage for Troubled Boys, and he really was a troubled boy. Unfortunately, this means he was a little bit of a loner. He got put in detention with a kid version of Scott Summers, and so Wade and Scott decided to escape from detention and go crash prom. At the prom, Wade ended up getting into a battle of fisticuffs with the kid-sized version of Logan, and the fight made the prom come to a complete halt and saw Kidpool embarrassed in front of all the other kids.
Lightsabers come into action?
He decided to leave, but just when that happened, he was confronted by Earth 616 Deadpool and joined up with the good guy Deadpool Corps. If you have seen The Adam Project, also directed by Sean Levy, then you know we already have the perfect actor to play Kidpool with Walker Scobell. So I'm crossing my fingers. Next up, Wanda Wilson is
freaking lightsabers come into action though. Deadpool with lightsabers. Deadpool with the power of the Force. God, that's horrifying.
the Deadpool of Earth 3010, but since she is one of very few female Deadpools, she naturally is titled Ladypool. Lady Deadpool joined the side of a group of rebels fighting against loyalists in the United States in her own universe, that were led by Ladypool's nemesis, General America. According to Wanda, the fight started when fascists in the federal government started to impose their will on the people. As a result, a schism in Congress occurred, generals took sides, and states declared independence, which led to the current predicament. Eventually, she is assisted by 616 Deadpool, and she ends up becoming a main part of the good Deadpool Corps, and eventually she becomes the leader of the group, sacrificing herself and the Corps ship in a fight against the evil Deadpool Corps and Galactus Pool. What's cool about this one is that it is confirmed that we will be seeing Lady Pool in the film, as her legs were revealed in the trailer, but there is no word as to who will be playing her. Maybe it'll be Blake Lively. That would be kind of hilarious and kind of cool. But on that note, there is another alternate version of Deadpool who will be appearing in Deadpool and Wolverine, and he's the Merc with a bark. Dogpool is one of the absolutely wackier alternate versions of Deadpool, but also one of the best. Hailing from Earth 103173, Dogpool was once a dog known as Wilson, who was used as an animal test subject for Mascara X, which was a mascara that was supposed to continually replenish itself after only one application. Instead, Mascara X disfigured Wilson and gave him the ability to continually heal himself from any wound. The lab owners didn't realize that he'd acquired this ability and tossed him into a dumpster. Now, Wilson tore free of the trash bag, and after wandering, he was struck by a car. Luckily, a circus truck saw it happen and recognized the potential of his abilities. He became the circus's starring act, and after a while of working there, he came face to face with the 616 Deadpool, who recruited him to the Deadpool Corps. Moving on, when Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, comes up with a revolutionary new method for dealing with cancer, he removes a tumor from Wade Wilson's head. What I think no one expected was that removing this tumor had the side effect of making Wade's insanity completely disappear. Sort of. Deadpool suddenly becomes hyper-intelligent, and his insanity instead turns him into becoming a super criminal, now going by Death Wish and looking a hell of a lot like Dr. Doom, taking his place as King of Latveria and wearing a super sweet death mask armor. He plans to attack the alternate Earth 616 Deadpool, but when he's defeated, he goes and makes a deal with Mephisto to unleash a literal hell on Earth. In the fan favorite Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe storyline, Dreadpool is the alternate version of Deadpool who wipes out literally every single superhero there is in his quest to end all of creation. Dreadpool even rises against the divine powers that created the Marvel Universe, meaning the literal writers, and he won. We're introduced to this character as he is being dragged to Psycho Man by the X-Men in an attempt to cure Wade of his insanity. Psycho Man's procedure silenced all the voices in Deadpool's head, but it brought out a new one, the quote, ultimate Merc. This voice is aware of himself being a fictional character just like normal, but is adamantly convinced that his only salvation is to wipe out everything there is. Deadpool went on a complete spree. The ultimate killer persona had gone so far that he decided to eradicate other versions of himself, namely the 616 Deadpool. Dreadpool and Deadpool each made their own Deadpool cores, assembled from alternate Deadpools throughout the multiverse and went head to head, and it would be awesome to see that play out in the film in some way. X-Men Origins Wolverine was a bit of a low point for the X-Men franchise. Most fans see this as the black sheep of the X-Men movies, but I argue that's a bit of a shame. For example, Sabretooth and the Blob from the movie were actually pretty good. There were also some decent action sequences, and it was cool to see Wolverine's past, but one part of the film that was universally disliked was what they did to Deadpool. This was the first time we had seen Deadpool in live action, and while he was rightly played by Ryan Reynolds, sewing the Merc with a mouth shut was a bold idea. The movie took Wade Wilson and spliced him together with a number of other mutants and gave him cybernetic enhancements to make him a horror movie version of Wade Wilson who didn't talk, used unreasonably large arm blades instead of katanas, and fired lasers from his eyes. This version has been used as a joke in the later Deadpool movies, and it would be absolutely amazing to see him actually show up in this movie, maybe showing up to attack Wade for trying to take his life while he was time hopping around at the end of Deadpool 2. Marvel's Ultimate Universe has a lot of fresh takes on the superheroes we are used to seeing, but Deadpool got some rather unique changes that I'm not sure how I feel about. The Ultimate Marvel version of Deadpool was a sergeant in the military named Wade Wilson. He's grim, he's angry, he's way too serious, and he also is an incredibly racist mutant hater. And he was also a cyborg with incredible strength, retained his signature healing factor, and instead of just being disfigured, he had no skin and was missing part of his skull, with his head being helmeted in a clear plastic case for everyone to see. This Deadpool leads the Reavers, who are also pretty dastardly devils, in trying to wipe out prominent mutants, but on live television, like it was for sport. Thankfully, Ultimate Deadpool was taken off the board by the 616 Deadpool in Deadpool Kills Deadpool in 2013. In the comic Deadpool vs. Thanos in the Patchwork Battle World, Thanos and Deadpool teamed up to look for Lady Death. It turns out the entity had been kidnapped by a rival cosmic force, Eternity. The in-betweener comes in to talk some sense into Eternity, but meanwhile, Deadpool sees an opportunity and tries freeing Mistress Death, which didn't go so smoothly, and a fight breaks out. Thanos ultimately betrays Deadpool and starts to completely pummel Eternity, and in return, Deadpool attacks Thanos, who simply throws the Merc with a mouth into Eternity. Inside the cosmic being, Wade meets the Unipower, who bestows itself onto Wade, and boom, enter Captain Universe Deadpool. With his newfound power, he was able to go blow for blow with a death-powered Thanos. Deadpool doesn't technically win, but Death is able to see the error of her ways, and she takes back her power from Thanos, causing him to literally explode. Seeing Deadpool amped up by the Unipower would be incredibly cool to see in a movie. Hulked Out Heroes is a nice, sweet little 2-issue comic book that is honestly just the best. Basically, MODOK and the leader gamma mutated a few pretty powerful heroes like Thor and the Thing, but they also gamma mutated Deadpool, turning him into Hulkpool, and he and Bob decided to head off to do their own thing. Using a time machine, Bob sends Hulkpool back in time with the intention of crushing his normal, weak Deadpool self. Instead, Bob accidentally sends Hulkpool on a trip through various time periods, starting in 1717. Hulkpool joins a Blackbeard Ben Grimm as his pirate first mate, and they face off against a giant squid until Bob sends them back even further and they come face to face with Devil Dinosaur. All three of them then end up in the Wild West, where of all people they run into Hawkeye. Hulkpool then travels to the exact moment when Captain America and Bucky Barnes are in the process of completing the mission, where they are both lost during World War II, and he stops the whole thing from happening. Not only that, but he helps Cap take down both the Red Skull and Germany's leader at the time. He stops Matt Murdock, Doctor Strange, the Fantastic Four, Thor, Peter Parker, Tony Stark, and even Bruce Banner from getting their powers. All before he finds out he's created a new timeline. Venompool hails from Earth 90211, from a reality stuck in the 1980s. In the story, the Beyonder decided to live the life of the party, and Spider-Man is still bonded with the Venom symbiote. When Deadpool is hired by Galactus to take out the Beyonder, Deadpool tracked down his target to a nightclub, but found he was enticed into the Beyonder's partying lifestyle, getting Jerry curls in the process. I am not joking. While hanging out with the Beyonder in a flying limousine, Spider-Man breaks into the car out of nowhere and demands that the Beyonder remove the symbiote costume from him. In a freak moment, Spider-Man is attacked by the limo driver, and the symbiote ends up bonding with Deadpool instead. Now, after a while, the Beyonder gets pretty sick of the Deadpool symbiote amalgamation and ditches him, which you can imagine ticked off Venompool. He ends up going back to his mission and tries to bring down the Beyonder with a weapon called the Recton Expungifier. There's a lot to this story, but I don't want to rob you the satisfaction of reading it yourself. Thanks for watching on Top 10 Nerd today. I'm Adam Andrews. I will catch